Welcome in, college football fans. Thank you so much for tuning in to the First and Long College Football Show. We're going to get to the reaction video that you clicked on here in just a second. But first, I want to get you to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. So that way you know when First and Long is posting content and we can put it in your feed and enjoy college football together this year. College football is just heating up. Join us multiple times a week as we go live and upload videos. We would certainly appreciate it. Enjoy. Let's go into Utah and Washington. 35-28. Washington ends up pulling out the victory. But man, the pig farmer showed us some glimpses of maybe what could be of Bryson Barnes at Utah, because for about 10 minutes there, homeboy was Superman. He took them down 4 drives in a row, scored 4 touchdowns there. I believe it was in the second quarter, and in the first half. Man, Washington did not have an answer, and there was some things that bounced, I guess, Utah's way, some brain farts, if you will. What the Washington player drops the ball before going into the end zone, and it ends up being a safety. Like, what are we doing? Have we not all seen the highlights from this happening over the last few years? It happens 3 times a year. Somebody does it, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. Why are you trying to drop the ball as quick as possible? It is not a hot potato. Make sure you get it through the goal line, kids, when you're scoring touchdowns, because that's pretty important. But Washington's defense steps up and wins this game for them at the end. They get the interception, close the game out. So, in a way, you Washington fans were on my ass all weekend, right? Because we thought that this game would be close. And guess what? It was. But Washington did do some things well that I think are promising. Penix started off rough, and he ended up figuring it out. Did he have his best day statistically? No. But by the end of the game, he had figured it out. Made some very impressive throws. Had to have them, okay, under pressure. So, big deal there. Good for Michael Penix. And Dylan Johnson was able to help Washington run the football. And I said that Washington has had issues running the ball at times, and they have. And you can directly correlate their worst games with not running the football good. Well, they ran it good Saturday, and I think that's why they won this game.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were able to mostly stop the run, Utah was not able to run the ball. And I think if Utah is able to consistently run the football in this game, I think they win. So, yet again, in football, it comes back to running the football and stopping the run. It's football 101. It's been that way for 100 years. What is your thoughts on this game? Washington, like I said, gets the victory 35-28. A victory is a victory, and this was a good one.
Yeah, it was. I thought that Dylan Johnson proved to be kind of the catalyst in this game once again. He goes over 100 yards for the second week in a row. Washington's starting to figure some things out in the run game, right? It's one thing to do it against USC. It's another thing completely to do it against Utah. And really, in their biggest games, Johnson has stepped up. Against Oregon, he had 100 yards. Against USC, he had 256 yards. And last night we saw that against Utah, he had 104 yards. So when they've needed him, they've been able to go to him. And against Arizona, he had 91 yards, almost had 100 yards there as well, and 2 touchdowns that day. So, Johnson has been a bright spot for Washington. I think that they're starting to figure some things out as Penix kind of has this come to earth little stint here, over the past few weeks. I mean, he's done some nice things. He had, a good game against USC and all, but he's starting to.
And we see this all the time. Stetson Bennett last year
Yeah.
went 3 games without throwing a touchdown in a row.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we see this happen. So it doesn't mean that Washington can't be successful, and that's never what we said on the video last week, but you know
Right.
how people take it the
Well,
wrong way.
going back to our preview, I did pick Utah to cover, and I didn't say it's because I think that they're just as good as Washington, right? And it was never meant to be taken that way. What I said is that Utah finds a way to create chaos, and that's what happened. That's what it took in this game for them to
Yep.
stay in it. And Bryson Barnes, I said, has been showing us that he's a better quarterback than we thought he was, and he played, above his potential. I think to this point in the season, and I think that we're starting to see kind of who Bryson Barnes really is, and that's very promising if you're a Utah fan, because I think limiting Washington to 35 is a pretty good day. I think that they would like to they'd like to have a touchdown come back or something like that, but it's been pretty consistent with what Utah's done against these elite offenses, in the mid 30s with Oregon that they gave up, USC and Washington now. So they've been pretty consistent on defense, and they're just a notch behind this year than these top teams in the Pac-12, but still a really tough out for any opponent. There's nothing to hang your heads if you're a Utah fan. I think that Bryson Barnes is proving to be pretty promising, and we talked about this last night, Mark. But if Cam Rising comes back, which I assume that he will, is he going to have a spot with Utah, or is he going to need to transfer out and go play somewhere else? And maybe he takes a step up, and
One of them's transferring out.
That's right. That's right. Because Bryson
Right.
Barnes, the pig farmer, is doing the dang thing. It'd be, how fitting would it be if he goes and transfers to Arkansas,
Right.
as a pig farmer, goes and plays for the Razorbacks.
Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. Great game. Thoroughly enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
That was a really good one that we had. One of the 5 TVs we had going was on that one the whole time, and really,
a lot of
really
points early. A lot of points early. It was turning into
Yeah.
freaking. It looked like Washington USC off the bat. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Utah's defense needs to get some stops. It just came a little bit too late, I think, where they started figuring some things out.
Yep. Yeah. Who would have thought the Utah Washington game would be about the same score as the USC Oregon game?
Right.
I wouldn't. I didn't, obviously, and we'll get to that game in a minute. But let's go to Tennessee at Missouri.